Hello again, everyone. We're going to be doing a vintage radio restore. This is a Travler. It's an AM clock radio. And like a lot of radios back in the 50s when this was made, has a Telechron clock. They were in a lot of radios. The model of this radio is a 5182. Made in the early to mid 50s. But the serial number does start with a 2, so it could be 52. It's early to mid 50s. I'm sure they made these for 3 or 4 years probably. And the reason I'm going to do a restore on this radio, I have a 1955 Travler TV. Let me show you it real quick. This is one of the first TVs I restored. It's a 21-inch console. So I thought, well, kind of be neat to have a AM clock radio from the same vintage. And if you look at the case of this looks like a TV with the way it's made, the square case, clock in the center. So let's look it over and I'll tell you my plans. We are missing both knobs. Tuning knob over there, and then a volume knob here. There's no switch because the switch is on the front. So this is a volume knob and a tuning knob, so we're going to have to dig up a couple of knobs to put on it. Speaker is right here in the top, and I think that grill cloth matches the cloth that's in the front of the TV that I restored. Looks really similar. And there's a model number tag, 5182. And this is pretty interesting. They got some feet on this cabinet, and they're made out of wood. Got a little, I guess, a tack or long nail driven into the plywood. So instead of putting separate feet, they made wooden feet. And again, that gives it the TV look. Looks like a 4 model TV with those wooden legs. There's the back of the radio, and there's that serial number. I'm sure restoring a radio is going to be fairly straightforward. Usually filter caps and paper caps will take care of the radio problem. This cabinet, I'll just strip this off with acetone like I do on my TV restores, and we'll put a fresh finish on it, make it look better. So let's plug this thing up. And my Shango power right, so we're safe. If anything happens, it'll trip out. We'll go about 100 volts. There's the off and on switch I was telling you about. That controls the radio too, so we'll turn it on. And we got some noise. I bet you can't guess what that noise is caused by. Yeah, you know what that's caused by. Filter cap, electrolytic's bad. So let's get this apart and see what's inside. Alright, back held on by 3 screws. We do have a corner broken off of it, but that's no biggie. And we got 2 screws here in the bottom that hold the chassis in. Alright, chassis is definitely loose. And I think the speaker, it's mounted on a board that slides in the top. It's a tight fit on that speaker. Make sure I don't tear it getting out. And we still have the clock in there, so I know it's attached with some wires. Okay, there's a speaker over there. And yeah, there's the wires going up to the clock right here. Then we have 3 1/4-inch head nuts that are holding this back cover on. That holds the clock in, so let me get those off. Okay, we got everything out of the cabinet, and I just cut the 3 wires going up to the clock. It's about the only way I could figure out how to get it out of there, because that's a square hole and a square clock, and no matter how you turned it, it would not go through that opening, so we can splice those back. Well, I think we need to get that dirt cleaned off of there before we start doing anything else. Pretty thick right there. Well, we may know what year this is. This is a Travler tube. It says 4-22, so that's probably 1954. 22nd week probably. That's just a guess, but there's another tube, this one here. And again, a Travler. And it's got the same code on it. 4-22. So I would say 1954. I think I found why we've got a hum. Electrolytic should be right here. There's a common lead, red and white, and it's gone. So someone's cut the filter cap out. Let me stick one back in and we'll hook up the clock, turn it back on, and see what we get. After replacing those 2 electrolytics, still had no sound. And I thought, well, if someone cut out that electrolytic, I wonder if they had the tubes out. And they did. Here's what was wrong. Fortunately, there's a tube chart inside the cabinet. And they had these 2 tubes swapped. The 12BE6 was here, the 12AV6 was here. So I swapped the 2 tubes. And now we need a little antenna help here. Have LED lights here in the basement, so that's why we're not getting anything without putting a wire on it. But so I'm going to check the tubes, and we've got, I don't know, 3 or 4, 5 paper caps maybe. I see 3 for sure. 4. I see 4 paper caps. One hidden in there behind that one, right back there. But we'll change those 2, and I'll come up with a better solution here on these electrolytics. Just have them soldered together. Maybe put a cover over the whole thing and mount it back there in that bracket. You can even see where they cut the bracket right here. Alright, let's test the tubes. I'm going going to pull them out one at a time. That way I make sure I get them back in the right spot. There's my old precision tube tester. It's an old one, but for what I'm doing, it works fine. First tube's 12AV6. And good. Second tube's a 12BA6. Good. Third tube, 12BE6. Good. We got a 35W4, tube number 4, and it's good. And the last tube's a 50C5, and it's good. Okay, all the tubes are good. I did take them all out. I was just joking. I know where they go back in. So I'm going to wipe this chassis off a little bit. Clean the tubes. We'll clean the sockets. Put all the tubes back in. Then we'll check it to make sure we're still working. And then I'll change those paper caps underneath. Carefully clean the speaker. Unfortunately, the way this sits in the cabinet, all the dust sits right on top of the speaker. Goes through those grills and lands on top. So we wipe that off. Alright, time for the paper caps next. Just used an old paper cap shell. Mounted the 2 new caps inside it. Still working. 3 of the 4 changed. And this last one, kind of hard to get to, but have this end clipped out. And the other end goes right here, looks like. Yep. Alright. And that's a .005. Push that back. All 4 paper caps changed. Done as neat a job as I could. Kind of tight quarters down in there. And will it still play? Yes, it does. It's all underneath, finished. Need to come up with a better solution on these 3 wires that go to the clock. I think I'll just extend them where I can mount the clock first and then attach these wires before I slide the chassis in. Seemed like that'd be the easiest way. In review, we found an electrolytic that was completely gone, 2 sections, so we replaced that. We found 2 tubes that had been reversed in their sockets. We switched them around, got the radio working. We cleaned the volume control, cleaned the chassis up, cleaned the tubes, and cleaned the top of the speaker off. Looking at these paper caps, we had 3 standard brand. These 3 right here. And then this is a Sun Chicago Electric and Chicago, Illinois Sun capacitor. And I'm pretty confident all four of these were original, so manufacturers just used what they could get a hold of back in the day. You would have thought they would have bought all four from the same brand, but this one's different unless it was made by this company, and it could have been. It's Chicago, Illinois too, so possibly they had two brands of capacitors. Maybe this one was cheaper. Who knows? Okay, I'm going to use the acetone on this cabinet. I think, yeah, that is a metal label. Looks like it has miniature nails. Yeah, I can feel them. They go all the way through the cabinet on this side. Take that label off. Make sure we don't get any acetone on the bottom. We won't do anything with that. And I'll have to pull the grill cloth out because it just glues in and I'll get acetone down in there, I know. So we'll take it out first. Well, that was pretty simple. Came right out. And can you tell where the dust is? I think we can clean this off and reuse it. Well, the nail that just went through one layer of plywood, it's loose, so it was easy to pull out. I was able to get both nails out. This old finish is tough. You see we're starting to break down, but man, it's been on there a long time. Going to take several passes to get that all the way off. About an hour to get all of the finish stripped off. Got that reddish cast like a lot of these old sets, old TVs and radios had back in the 50s. Kind of a mahogany look. Our model number is still there. And the tube layout. I think I have enough of this polyurethane. Feels like almost half a can, so this should be enough to do the cabinet. Alright, our cabinet's dry. So first we'll put the grill cloth back in. Have the glue put on, and we want to put it back in the same way. Pattern running this way, just like the lures. And we got to put it upside down. A little bit of glue here, but that'll dry clear, but I'm going to take a Q-tip and wipe it out just to be sure. I think that'll work. I'm prepping the clock so I can install it, and the leads will be long enough for me to attach them to the radio. A little easier than it was getting it out. And this is a cover that goes on the back of the clock. And these three wires, red, green, and brown, they go through this hole right here. But that will allow us to solder them to the radio chassis before we put the radio in. Okay, ready to go back in. First we'll put our Travler emblem back on. The polyurethane filled them holes in, so the pins are fitting tight now. You just push them in. Ready for the clock. Now I need to feed these three wires up through this hole right here. There, we're getting there. Okay. Three nuts. Quarter-inch nuts. Alright, I have the speaker started. Slides in. But now we need to splice these wires. Then we can put everything back in the cabinet. Okay, there's our clock wires. So slide everything in. Couple of screws here in the bottom. I haven't decided which knob I'm going to use. This one has a station numbers here on the edge, which is fine if they line up with this little nail that's in there. I'm not sure if they do or not. I found this one. We'll have to work on the center, put something in there for a center, but alright, not bad for in the basement. And that station is 840, and there's our indicator, and there's 8, and there's 10, so we're pretty much lined up. There's a volume knob that I found. And there's a tuning knob. And that completes the restore on this Travler AM clock radio. Hope you've enjoyed the video. We'll see you next time. Well, we hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, how about giving us a like and subscribing to our channel? Thanks.